Our speaker was one of the last speakers that I heard before I went away, and that was the first time I had met Candy Barone, and she was one of the very best speakers we've ever had. High energy and great information. You don't get a better combination than that for a speaker. She is going to be talking about discovering your what, why, and who to create bigger and better opportunities. She is the CEO of a company called You Empowered Strong. The acronym would be
Yes.
Yes. She has a bachelor's in mechanical engineering, 20 years in corporate America, certified Six Sigma black belt. She has an MBA as well. Northwestern University, Texas Tech, Northwestern Mutual, Austin Water Designs, to name a few. She was named the 2014-15 VIP Woman of the Year by the National Association of Professional Women, and a 2015 recipient of the Public Speakers Association Local Collaborator Award. She has been showcased on CNN, in The Statesman, the Austin Business Journal, Be the Boss magazine, the Chicago Tribune, etc. The list goes on and on. So today she brings her pull no punches accountability to Launchpad Job Club. Give it up for Candy Barone.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Oh, you can do better than that. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, you guys, how many of you are going tomorrow to the Job Expo? Excellent. I hope you bring a little bit more energy than what you did the first time I said good morning. I love, actually, that Paul shared his success story, and Kathy talked about the opportunity to be yourself. What I'm going to do is get you, hopefully, a little fired up to show up more purposefully tomorrow. I want to really talk a little bit about your mindset going in, how you can differentiate yourself, and some ways that you can really hone in on some powerful questioning that's going to help separate you. I'm going to help you stand out. See, I got to cause some kind of chaos just so you'll remember me, right? So tomorrow I want you to really go in and think about how to be more purposeful. So we're going to get into what I call the what, why, and who, as well as some other frames that may be things that might block you from having the powerful conversation. I think there was great examples, the fact that Paul shared a story around the coffees that he had simply by making the ask. We don't realize the power of the ask sometimes to get the bigger question or to say, hey, I want to meet this person. Can you stair step me to the next one? And so I want to give you some tools and some ways to do that so that you can really maximize your energy in the space that you're in tomorrow when you show up at that expo. That fair? Sound good? Yes. All right. So let me ask you a couple questions. First of all, do you know who you really are? I love the laughing right now. Kathy said be yourself. How many of you very clearly can say who you are without it being connected and attached to your title or former title? By a show of hands. How many of you really truly could say, this is who you are as a person. This is who you are in terms of how you show up, how you serve, how others experience you? Or are you caught up in that cycle of, I'm a project manager. I'm an IT salesperson. I'm a dad. I'm a this. I'm a whatever. Do you identify yourself based on what you do or your skill set versus who you really are? And so I want you to think about what that means. Who are you really? As we get into the next couple minutes that we're spending together. And hold me honest on my time too, will you, Kathy? Do you know the value of what you deliver? Regardless of the job you're in, do you know what your unique gifts are? And what value you deliver that sets you apart from other people? Do you know what your strengths are? Are you someone who can see beyond the problem and see a wider net of where things connect together? Are you a visionary? Are you someone who's so good at the details, which, by the way, let me know, because I am so not. Even as an engineer, details are my absolute nemesis. But do you know the things that set you apart in the roles that you take on? Do you know those gifts? Can you articulate those gifts in a very succinct, powerful way? And then I want you to also ask, how many of you have a true roadmap for your life? For your life, not your career, your life. I want to talk about personal development versus professional development. We got to get some of this right before we can get the work right. And sometimes what's happening in our career is a symptom of what we haven't addressed here. Does that make sense for everybody? And so I want to talk a little bit about your personal development. How many of you have a real plan for your own personal development? My show of hands. How many of you consistently, on a weekly basis at minimum, do things that enhance your learning, your growth, your personal development, your reading, your seeking out information? By the way, a lot of you should raise your hands because you're sitting in these seats and you're here. I'm just saying this is an example of personal development. There are other people that are in transition that are not taking this opportunity. That in itself starts to separate you because you're putting that foot and that momentum forward so that you can start to see what options you have for yourself. That's powerful. And I want you to honor that and think about that as we go through the rest of this conversation. Because for those of you that don't know, Kathy told you I'm a mechanical engineer. What always kills me when I say that to a lot of people when they get to know me, their first response is, Candy, don't take this the wrong way, but you don't look or act like an engineer. And I'm like, yes, thank you, I know. But I am. And I can think like an engineer. But I also have had various leadership roles throughout my 20 years in corporate. I played in a lot of Fortune 100 companies. And I sat in your seat at one point in my career. When I was working for Johnson Controls and they went through a big acquisition and merger with York, I had just received the Chairman's Award in the organization. Highest honor you can get at Johnson Controls. I just received my MBA. I just got certified as a Six Sigma black belt and got told the day before I got let go that I was one of 1,000 people that was tagged as an emerging leader in the global corporation of Johnson Controls. And 10 o'clock the next morning on March 27th, I got told I had walking papers. You want to talk about getting the carpet pulled out from under you? I was their golden girl. I bled blue like there was no tomorrow. In fact, all the companies I work for, I've bled blue. They've all had a different color of blue. It's been very weird, and I still bleed blue. Very funny. But it's interesting because you sit in a moment and you go, what just happened? And I even remember someone saying to me, be careful getting the Chairman's Award. You'll be gone in 3 weeks. I'm like, wait, say that again to me? He's like, I'm just saying, because now you're on everybody's radar and somebody's going to get nervous. And the merger was a facade for, I made my executive VP at the time a little nervous, because the more my team succeeded, the more it exposed, he didn't really know what he was doing. And so it was a very difficult time that I was in transition like you. I went to the job placement, and it was interesting because I sort of challenged I love that Launchpad has such an open approach. And the information that you get coming here is so powerful to help you move forward, where some of the outplacement companies, their whole business is to make sure you stay unemployed as long as possible because that's how they get paid from the companies. And let me tell you, the advice they're giving you is not what you're getting here. And so I was one of their favorite people because in order to get my severance, I had to show up for at least 3 days. I challenged everything. They didn't like me too much. However, I get what you're going through. I get how challenging, how scary, how frustrating it can be. And I can also talk to you about what I did to help move me into my next job and then through my career, what it opened up so that I could show up very purposely and differently in my own life. I was unemployed for 11 weeks before I went to work for GE Healthcare, which that was a whole nother side of my learning curve, when that was the space that I hit rock bottom. 35, I ended up in the hospital thinking I was having a heart attack because of the pain and the stress and the anxiety. And so some of what I'm going to share with you is the fact is, are you looking for just a job? Or are you looking for a space where you can thrive? And I want you to think about, because if you really just want the job, that's great. But make sure you're aware that that's what you're going after versus the opportunity and the power you have to find the space that's going to allow you to excel more. The space that's going to be fulfilling for you. The space where you get to step into and use your gifts at your full capacity. Because one of the things that people mistake when they do interviews, and I will tell you the fastest way I shut down an interview when I used to hire people on my team was when it got to the question when I would say, so what questions do you have for me? And their response would be like, oh, I'm good. I'm like, well, I guess we're done with the interview. And the reason is because if you don't own the fact that this is as much a qualification, criteria, interview for you as well. I love that the conversation came up around culture. The questions to find out if you are a cultural fit for the organization. Are you asking the questions, and do you know yourself well enough to say, are they a cultural fit for me? Because if you're not, you're just looking for a job. So I want you to think about the fact that if you're just looking for a job, then it's great. You can succumb to whatever their culture is, but do you know your own principles? Do you know how you stand in integrity? And are you, because this is actually a gift for you. I know some of you don't feel that sometimes. This transition's a gift. Because you get to now say, what do I want that was missing before? What do I need that gets me to the next level? What is the access and the opportunity I have? Because now I get to go out and look at the whole landscape again instead of thinking I have to stay right here. Because a lot of people can't go look for their next because they're so caught up working 80 to 100 hours a week and they're caught up into the grind. You guys have a gift. Are you taking advantage and opportunity of the gift? Because I'm going to show you some ways to position yourself so you can ask the questions that are going to make sure the company is as much of a good fit for you as you may be for them. Create bigger opportunities. Make sense? Okay. So how many of you are confident that you know what your next is? On a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to just kind of play this in your mind right now. How many of you know, like in your heart of hearts, you know what you really want next? Yeah, I got a couple people. How many of you are like, ooh, maybe that's a question I should figure out? Powerful when you do. What was it that you liked about your last job? What was it that you liked about the environment, the people, the work? And what is it, if you were honest with yourself, you're like, ooh, man, I don't want any more of that. You know what? I'm not so upset that I don't have that going on anymore. And when you can get clear to say, so what do I want different? Because I don't want you to focus on what you don't want. I want you to focus on how to move towards. So if you didn't have an environment that felt like it lifted you up, my next environment is one where I feel like I get seen and I get valued and I have promotion opportunities. Or maybe it's an environment where I feel like I get to influence and lead others. What does that look like? Or you know what? Maybe I want more flexibility to work from home. Or I want to be on the road more. Or I want balance that looks different than what it did before. Get honest with yourself. Because if you're not confident in terms of what you need and what you want next, how can you show up to say, yeah, that's the right fit for me? Or ask the question to figure out whether or not you're going to get what you need. So if you're not an 8, 9, or 10 on that scale that says, man, I'm confident, I got it, I know what's next for me. I know the space I thrive in, I know where I excel. You got some homework to do today. Okay, that's first piece. You might have a lot of homework walking out of here some of you. It's okay. This is a process. It's a journey. Do you believe you're qualified? If you're confident about what you want next, do you really believe you're qualified to be that person? Do you know your own worth to say, I should have that job. I deserve that job. I'm worthy of that job, because we show up differently if we don't believe that. We show up going, well, I don't know. They may think that I don't have the experience of this. I'm not really good. And we show up. Even subconsciously, we show up with our shoulders hunched. Our eyes are down. And by the way, some of you that even, and I pick on you guys every time. This is my second time coming back, and I love being here. So it's such an honor. Thank you. But I love when you guys introduce yourself, the newbies. Some of you have an opportunity to stand in your space. And I don't mean have a voice like mine that's like, but I mean own who you are. There's a lot of this shifting of, my question to you is, do you really believe you deserve that next? Because some of you, I didn't feel that when you were here. And I pick on you only because you just got up before I did. And I got to see it firsthand. But some of you made yourself smaller or tried to. Are you standing in who you are and saying, I believe I bring something of incredible value? Why wouldn't this company want to hire me? I remember when I went from JCI to GE, it was really interesting because in the outplacement thing, they set me up with a counselor who was a female because I was a female, had no background in the industry I played in. So we get in there and she's like, well, you know, we're going to want to review your resume before you send it out, which I was like, okay. She's like, so this was Monday morning. She goes, so you need to schedule an appointment for Friday? And I said, my resume is going out tomorrow morning, so if you think you need to see it, I'll be here at 7:30. She went, oh. Well, then I had a cover letter that was addressed for a job I wanted at GE, that it said, here's who I am, here's why you should hire me, here's what I bring to the table. Her comment to me was, wow, I'll say modesty is not one of your strong suits. And I looked at her and I actually said, interesting that you said that to me, because if I were a man in this room right now, you'd be telling me that that was a pretty damn good cover letter. And interesting that you obviously don't know anything about the company I'm applying for. GE doesn't do passive aggressive very well. GE doesn't do meek and small. GE is going to eat you up and spit you out if you don't show up to play. Needless to say, when I got the job at GE, I called back after I fired my counselor and said, just so you know, guess what job I just took and guess what got me in the door. You have to be clear about the value you bring and be able to assert yourself in a way with confidence. And confidence says, it doesn't necessarily mean you know how to get it done. Confidence doesn't say you know the answer. Confidence is not about, man, I know how to get there. Confidence is, I have faith, I will figure it out. Confidence is about your own faith in the value that you're going to figure it out. That's powerful. How confident are you right now when things are scary, things are uncertain? How confident are you? I'll figure it out. And you know what? This or something better. So if that wasn't the space where I get to shine at my next level, man, all that's coming is something better. I have a lot of friends that make fun of me when I get out of a relationship. They're like, you get over that very quickly. I'm like, I don't get over anything. I make a choice. I can sit here and belabor what wasn't the right fit for me. And I can cry. And don't get me wrong, I have tears and I have emotions like anybody else. But I can sit here and put myself into a hole going, why didn't he love me? Why wasn't this? Or I can go, wow, if that relationship was that good, ooh, there's something better even coming. I'm like the kid at Christmas. I want the next coming on the horizon, right? So if those of you are sitting here spending all your time going, how could they let me go? What if I still had my job? Oh my gosh, I missed that environment. Instead of going, ooh, it's Christmas. Where is that present? What's coming next? That's confidence. That says, if not that, then something better's on the horizon. Paul, are you excited about your new job?
Thrilled.
Does it feel like a better fit for you?
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see what you think in 6 months, in a year, and how you look at that based on where you were before. Because I'm guessing with the work that you did, you just opened up a space that says, wow, I don't know why, but I feel like I might get to be me a little more. Anybody get excited about that? What if you could be you, play full out, thrive, have more time, make more money, mean, I went from Johnson Controls to GE and made a lot more money. I left GE, went to Northwestern Mutual, made a lot more money. And oh my God, I had more time. And I wasn't working 80 to 100 hours a week. And I had a boss that loved me and grew me and gave me freedom. And I was like, oh, wait, you mean you're not going to micromanage me? I didn't even know that was an option. Let me tell you, when you stop getting micromanaged, you're like, oh, I don't ever. And literally one of my decisions to leave Northwestern Mutual was when I got an executive VP above me who started to micromanage me again. And I'm like, you don't get to show me the kingdom and then put me back in the box. Because man, it makes you smarter. So confidence. I want you to think about that. Okay, so before we get started, who in here would legitimately say you are a leader by a show of hands? Who in here believes they're a leader? Okay, I got some people that half-ass raise their hand. I should see everybody raising your hand. Because did anybody grow up in a household like I did, where the conversation was, leaders are either born or made. You're either born a leader, or you're going to work your tail off to be a leader. Anybody ever hear that? You're born or made a leader. Anybody believe that? I'm going to dispel that for a minute. I'm going to tell you that is the biggest cop-out we're handed as a kid, so that we don't have to step up and play at our highest and best level. We are told, well, if you're not born a leader, because it's kind of like, David, you were a leader. Shannon, I don't know, I'm thinking about it. It's like somebody waved a magic wand and went around and went, duck, duck, goose. Or what was the little one, little bunny, foo, foo, hopping through the forest? I'm dating myself here. Right? But we go, oh, I wasn't born a leader. Therefore, not my responsibility. Oh, I didn't get the tools I needed to be a leader. My boss didn't support me. Not my responsibility. I'm going to tell you, leadership is everyone's game. And this is how I define leadership. Leadership is how you choose to show up. Let's say that again. It's how you choose to show up. It's also how you choose to serve others. And the big one, and this is what's going wrong in our culture right now, how you choose to take personal responsibility inside those two spaces. Anybody see a word that's bolded in all three of those sentences? Choose. Say that again? Choose. Choose. Because leadership ultimately is a choice. I want you to let that settle in for a moment. Leadership is a choice. You were given a unique thumbprint, voice print, set of tools, skills, talents, gifts, that even if somebody else has the same skills, you have different experience, different expertise, different passion. Nobody has your exact thumbprint, which gives you opportunity to lead in that space. There are kids with autism and Down syndromes that could teach us so much about leadership because they show up and play full out. They have no agenda. And someone's like, yeah, but they throw a tantrum. And I said, no, it's because we don't learn to speak their language. We try to force them to speak ours. I want you to really think about where you're shirking your responsibilities as a leader. Because leadership's a choice. And if you're not playing full out, if you are not standing in a space to say, I know who I am, I'm confident about the value I deliver, you're also copping out from being a leader. Get that? Different way than corporate tells us to look at leadership. Different way than you're either born or made a leader. That's crap. It is such a cop-out. It's also, and think about some of the cliche sayings that we have. My other favorite one, you guys have all heard, where there's a will, right? How many of you believe that? Where there's a will, there's a way. Like, that's your motivator. I'm going to tell you no. Because think about that on a literal standpoint. Where there's a will, there's a way. So there's a way that maybe may or not be for me. If this, then that has to happen. How many of you are like, well, when I get all of my ducks in a row, then I'll do this. Versus, And I even have this as a chapter in my book, which is available afterwards. But I say where there's a will, there's a Candy Barone. And if you didn't notice when Kathy introduced me, guess what my name is? Candy Barone. Because what I'm going to tell you is where there's a will, there's me. And where there's a will, there's you. There's no way. The only way is if you get so clear to say, I'm going to open the doors necessary. If Paul sat there and said, where there's a will, there's a way, versus reaching out to people saying, can we have coffee? I want to pick your brain. Paul said, where there's a will, there's me. I am the only one going to open up access to what's possible. Because we spend a lot of time and energy focused on, how am I going to make this happen? Why is that happening to me? When is this going to show up? And I want you to change the question to ask yourself, am I opening up access in every way possible to bring to me what I said I really want? Am I opening up access? And you know who's got control of that? Thank you for doing that. I was going to say, right here. So where there's a will, there's you. Just like leadership's a choice. There are doors you are not opening right now. It takes getting into the uncomfortable. It takes, and so tomorrow when you have the opportunity and you're like, ooh, I really want to go talk to that company, and something's holding you back, that's exactly when I want you to go over there and say, hi, I'm Candy Barone. I know this, and this about your company. Let me tell you whatever. Add your value. Go in there and own your space. Don't sit here and get small. I am so and so. Eye contact. Firm handshake. Introduce yourself. Have a conversation. Okay? So, let's talk about the 3 W's, as I promised in the title of my talk. The 3 W's being your what, your why, and your who. It is very important for you to stand in a place of leadership, to stand in a place to play at your highest and best value, to understand your what, why, and who. Here's what I mean when I say that. So let's talk about your what first. Your what is not, oh, I want to work for this company. Oh, I want to grow my business 20% over next year. Those of you that had sales numbers like I did. Oh, I got to hit my OP this year. That's not the what. That's an outcome of your what. Your what, and this is some of the homework I'm going to offer some of you tonight before you come in tomorrow, is to get clear on your personal what. Because your what is what do you want to accomplish? You personally, as an individual contributor in this world, what do you want to accomplish? How do you choose to serve? How do you want to offer the gifts you have to other people? I always say, what is it you want to affect, influence, impact, change, create? What is that living legacy? And we have this term legacy in our culture that the way we've defined it is it's like our exit out. Well, I want to leave my calling card when I'm gone from this universe. When I'm on my deathbed, I want to make sure I got a legacy that I've laid on the table. That's not legacy. Legacy is how you show up every day and how you serve. Legacy is what I'm doing with you right now. You are creating a legacy because some of you are going to walk away from here and take a nugget and you're going to serve that forward. You're going to lead that forward. That's a legacy. You know, people don't remember what you say or do. People remember how you made them feel. What is the experience you're creating for people? What is that living legacy? What is that imprint that you're creating? Because you showed up. Do people remember that you held space with them? Or are you dismissed because you just look like the wallpaper behind you? Do you show up in a way that people say, man, I remember you? And there's people in here that, by the way, I'm connected because I can feel your energy right now. You're creating a legacy and imprint just in the way you're engaging with me from a body language and visual standpoint. I'm going to remember you. I'm going to remember and have a view of this room, and there's going to be faces that I'm going to see. That's the power when you know who you are and how you're standing up. What is your what? That what is, what do you want to affect, influence, change, impact? And it doesn't have to be like me, where my mission, I'm going to talk about that in just a second, is this global space. It could be, I want to be the best this in my neighborhood, in my family, with the people that I interact with. I want to make sure that I'm demonstrating kindness every day, compassion, generosity. Think about this. What if you put yourself in a space to lead from love, with love, in everything you do? And yes, I said that to a bunch of people that come from corporate backgrounds. Lead from love, with love. What if you had the opportunity to feed the soul of business? What if, because we play what ifs that's so negative sometimes. What if you started to dream about the possibilities instead? By the way, it takes less energy to play what if on the positive side than making up the BS story that has to go with the what if the sky is falling and I lose my job again, and what, okay, you lost your job. You're all still breathing. You still have your roofs. You still have things going on. It's just a hiccup and a blessing when you choose to look at it that way. But what is the imprint you wish to create? How do you want people to experience you? What is it you want to leave them feeling when you engage with them? Do they want to think that you're genuine? Do they want to feel like that they've been seen and heard and valued? Do they want to feel like you got your back? What is it you want to give that person as a result of how you show up? And what are your core values? Do you know, can you state your core values? And if we had a longer training thing, I would actually have you decide what your 3 words are that describe you. Mine are authentic, passionate, and generous. That's how I want to show up every day. Those are words that mean something to me. What are your core values? The question is, who are you, not what you do. We associate our entire worth based on a title, based on our income, based on stuff that we attach ourselves to, instead of knowing and standing in a space that says, this is who I am regardless of having a job or not. This is who I am, because I still get to lead even if I don't have a title that says so. And so I want you to think about that, because if you go in tomorrow knowing who you are, do you think that might change the way you have conversations? Do you think you're going to show up more confidently? Just like people leave jobs because of environments and lack of leadership, people hire and create jobs. Most of my jobs at the second half of my career were jobs that were invented because someone engaged with me and said, how do we get you on board? They weren't jobs that were posted. So that statistic, I don't think it's 80%, but there's a lot of jobs that aren't posted because for the right person, I'm going to make a job for you. I know I need you on my team. When you show up that powerfully, things start opening up for you. So I want you to think about that. So the components of your what are what I call the 3 I's. What are the space that you can inspire others? How do you inspire others? By the way, motivation is a self-intrinsic thing. You can't motivate another person as much as you try. I choose to be motivated. I choose to be empowered. Hence the name You Empowered Strong, because you have to decide for yourself. I give you all the tools, all the inspiration, but who are you inspiring? How do you inspire? How do you influence? Influence is a big game when it comes to opening up opportunities. What do you see for those companies that you're like, man, they're a good culture fit for me? Where's the opportunity? And I do a workshop that I'll talk about in just a minute, that I talk about the 5 ABCs of mastering your life and business. And one of the things we talk about is, what problem do you solve? What is it that you see as going well that you want to mimic in the industry? What is it you see that's not going well that you're like, ooh, I don't agree with that? And where's the missing component that you bring to the table? When you can have a conversation like that, you start bringing influence to the game, which is powerful. How am I doing on time? Awesome, perfect. And then impact is the other piece. Because when you inspire and influence, you create impact.
So your why then, and this is a space that people really get tripped up, because your why is about your why, not your spouse's why, your society's why, your kid's why, your former boss's why, the company's why, your why. Why is that what's so important to you? And so your why is, what's that compelling why? What's that thing that gives you fire and energy and passion? Because I would love to really emphasize the power of passion, even though most companies are like, woo, I got on every review, you're too passionate. It's also why I led 5 high-performing teams that outperformed everyone else in our department, function, and area. People show up for passion. People get on board for passion. A lot changes with passion. So what is your compelling why, and how do you start communicating it's part of who you are? What's that burning necessity you have in terms of the work you want to do? What gets you up in the morning? And then what does it fulfill in your life? When you make that happen, and by the way, a lot of times it's the story that you're so afraid to share with other people. We all have stories. We all have stuff that happened in our childhood or at work or here, or we all have stories. The problem is we don't own them and acknowledge how we need to feel inside that space, but a lot of your why comes there. Get honest with yourself. Have those really open conversations. Be surprised what happens when you show up in that capacity. So what need does it fill for you? What story is connected to it in your life, in your experience? What story is connected to your why? And then how does it impact all the areas of your life? Not just your work bucket. And by the way, life-work balance is not a thing. You have one life. Work is a bucket, just like your emotional bucket and your play bucket and your family bucket and your whatever. It's a bucket. It's a component. You have a life. Create life harmony. Create balance in your life. There's no scale on life work. Stop trying to be this person at work and this person in your life. Who are you collectively? It's an opportunity. Because if you are showing up and you've got this is my work face, and this is my, man, I'm like this outside and everybody, oh, what missed opportunities you have here because you're coming in with the work mask? Again, opportunity for you to assess how you were playing before and how you're going to choose to play moving forward. So when your why is big enough, you will find your how. We get so caught up in how am I going to make this happen? Get connected to why it matters first. Am I opening up access for my why? Now your who. We waste so much time and energy with people that are not for us. I have a newsflash for everyone in this room. And some of you might find it shocking, but you are not for everyone. I know. I'm really shocked. I mean, there's some people that even left. Go do something more intentional. I'm not for you. Because some of you are like, seriously, who is this crazy person on crack up in the front of the room? What is she on? I'm perfectly fine if I'm not for you. It took me a long time to get there. I'm like, what do you mean everybody doesn't love me? Because we have this need. And by the way, you're not for everyone. And I like to tell people there's kind of 2 camps in my world. There's Camp Candy, which I am very biased, but I think is a freaking awesome space. It's like from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the island of misfit toys. There's Camp Candy, and there is just my little tribe of weirdos. And I am very comfortable calling my little tribe weirdos. There's a bridge over here, and there's this other space called Camp Content. No judgment, they like their life the way they do, and it's great. What happens is all of us have at least 2 camps. And all of us have our camp. We know, when we know who we are, we know our camp. Yet we sit here and we yell across the bridge, hey, why don't you want to play with me? Come join us. And you've got people over here going, hey, we're ready to go. Let's go make things happen. All right, go, say go. I'm with you. You got me. And you're sitting here going, but they don't like us. Come here. And that's why I said it's important for you to understand, is that company the right fit for you? Or you trying to force something that's going to make you miserable, and you've got people like, all you need to do is ask. We're ready for you. I'll go halfway and extend a hand and say, anytime you want to come over, this bridge is open. Because you know what happens sometimes with the people over here who you can't convince? They start seeing the party going on over there, and they're like this across the bridge. I like to tell people when the haters show up, I love the memes that say, succeed so well that your haters want a job from you. Because they start going, ooh, wait, what? What? I'm happy to say, you want to come check it out? But I will not go more than halfway and drag him across the bridge. We spend so much time trying to convince ourselves somebody's for us, a company's for us, when if you are so clear about your what, why, and your who, you shine a light, you start tracking what you need to you organically. Most of the business I close now is because somebody says, this is a referral. Somebody goes, I saw your video, that was so genuine, I had to call you. I closed the deal yesterday. I thought I was just having coffee with someone I hadn't seen in a while. I was like, oh, she's like, I saw your video. And all I kept thinking was, man, that is so who you are, and I need to talk to you. I know who I am. Camp Candy is awesome. I'm biased. But I will send love to those people and say, man, I hope you have the most success, a rich life, but I'm going to love on these people here. Do you see the difference in that? We waste a lot of time going, hey, why don't you like me? It's okay. They're not for you right now, or they're not for you ever. It's okay. So your who then is who gives you energy. Do you know that? Do you also know who drains you? Do you know the vampires in your life that need to be removed? And if your inner circle has people that are not lifting you up, challenging you, supporting you, it's time to do some housekeeping and weed out the dead weight. Who inspires you? Who do you wish to emulate? If you look at, because I'm reading The Energy of Money right now, fantastic book, highly recommend it. But there's a space in there that talks about identify the people you admire. What are the qualities you admire about them? There's a reason you admire. It's because you're hardwired the same way. Even if you're not fully standing in integrity with those things that get you all jazzed up, those things that spill out of you, it's because you just haven't given yourself permission. But you see in others what is already hard-coded in yourself. Isn't that kind of cool when you're sitting there and go, man, that person's so generous. Guess what? So are you. You just haven't stepped out and played that way. Because the reason it speaks to you is because that person lights you up because it's already a trigger you've got. That's powerful. So who inspires you? Who's in your inner circle? If they are all yes people, man, you rock all the time. You can do no wrong. Another time to do some housekeeping. My inner circle confuses people a lot of times. They're like, I don't understand how you're friends with that person. You two argue all the time. I'm like, no, we have healthy discussions. Sometimes I do not agree with them. But I have people that push me. They challenge me. They call my BS and they call my truth. Those are people that help me grow and help me play at my highest and best level. If I got people that just worship the ground I walk on all the time, while that's fun, I'm not growing at all. I'm not being the best leader I can be. I'm not showing up and playing full out. So bad news is you're not going to fit with everyone. The good news is the great ones never do. I want you to think about that for a minute. Bad news is you aren't for everybody. The good news is the great ones never are. I want to be great. So I'm okay if there's some people that don't get it. Some people don't want to play that way. It's okay. No judgment. But I don't have time for it. So get clear on that as you're going into tomorrow. So the components of your who are, how do you assess this? It's the characteristics that draw you in. It's the personality traits. It's the energy, culture, and community. It's not just the demographic. I want to work for a Fortune 100 company that has X number of dollars that they're bringing in a year, that they have this many cheers. That's ridiculous. Do they fit with who you are? Core principles and values. Cannot stress this enough. So the formula for success, and I'm going to go through this piece rather quickly because I just want to highlight this. Because as you get to know your what, why, and who, you also can very clearly say your mighty mission. Not just I'm a project manager and this is who I am. Because mission's all about who are you now and who are you becoming. It's present. But mighty mission, how are you drawing people into who you are? Because then it leads to that forecast of where you want to be, which is the vibrant vision. And once you understand that for yourself, then you can put the fanatical focus to it. and make sure that 80% of what you're doing every day is getting you close to playing full out in that mission space so that you can achieve the vision of what you want to accomplish in this lifetime. And then the AA is not Alcoholics Anonymous. It is authentic action. You start doing the discipline required to open up access. And so I'm going to give you an example because the mission is all about now and the vision is all about moving to the future. I'm going to give you an example, and I'm just going to go through that, to show you what a mission, a mighty mission statement might look like, because I know we're getting on time. So here's a mighty mission statement. This is my personal mission statement. It is to help executives, entrepreneurs, and emerging leaders build richer cultures and high-performing teams by disrupting the current definition of leadership to truly feed the soul of business and grow purpose-driven servant thought leaders who lead from love with love. I always ask people, if you don't feel I'm standing up in that space to walk my talk in that mission, please let me know because then I have to work on it. But I'm showing up here today to do this work. This is who I am. This is what I choose to do, regardless of owning my own company or working for somebody else. If I go to GE, I show up the same way. By the way, we're looking at bringing my training into their curriculum, which is interesting. I work for them, and now I'm coming back to consult in a bigger capacity of how that works. But I show up exactly this way there as well. Now, when you look at the vision, which is that future state, let me show you the example of, do you see the difference between a mighty mission and a, I'm so-and-so, and this is what I do, and this is what I'm looking. People connect to that more. The vision together, notice how it doesn't say, I'm doing this. My mission is to lift up new leaders. I can't do the work I have set on my horizon by myself. So together we are eradicating a cycle of fear that's handed down as a legacy by creating a global culture of impact, influence, and empowerment that opens up a courageous, connected conversation. We need some courageous conversations going on in our world right now so that we can create healing, accountability, and effective change for millions of people. While my vision is here, yours doesn't have to be a global scale. It can be how you want to show up in your community, how you want to show up in your next role. But if it's not big enough to scare you, you're playing really small. Here's an opportunity for you today to ask yourself, what is your what, why, and who? And if you were to say what your mighty mission and vibrant vision are, could you stand in a space to say, this is who I am and this is what I'm working towards. And I want an environment where I can thrive in that space. It gets powerful. I remember August was the first time I said my vibrant vision out loud to a group that was rather large. And I literally started to break down. I get chills when I say it because I know that that's what I'm doing. When you get that connected to it, do you think the people that get this are showing up to play with me? Opening up opportunities for me? Hiring me and giving me jobs? When they get this, they're like, yes, please sign me up. Because they're like, even my guys from GE, I have one that's been through 5 of my trainings. And he'll say, we got someone new for Camp Candy. He's decided he needs a t-shirt that says Camp Candy, Island of Misfit Toys. I told John I'd get him one. But he so walks. We are playing in Camp Candy, pull out. He goes, I'm creating Camp John on the side so that we can hook it up like little boats on the water. I'm like, awesome. I want lots of little, like the pontoon boats when you're going out on Lake Travis and you get out there and you just have the whole day where everybody's tied up together. Man, I hope that Camp Candy just starts becoming like Camp everything else. That's my vision. What's your vision for who you get to be, how you choose to serve, and how you show up? Anybody in here a yes, but person? Yes, but. Be careful of this going into tomorrow. Yes, I really want to work for that company, but this is a more powerful context. Yes, and. Or if you hear something, because I love even when Paul said, there's times I pushed back. There's a way to push back that says yes, but that you completely dismissed what the other person said. Versus, yes, Kathy, and let me offer something else. I always say, and I do this in corporate, and I really want to see if I got people's attention, but I'll say, so whose big butt's getting in the way? And I'll get some manufacturing guys, Clever Girl. It was amazing when I did that. These guys just start tears down their face. They're like, you did not. I'm like, I'm guessing, Kenny, your big butt's getting in the way. But is your butt getting in the way? Where in your mind are you like, yes, even with what I just shared with you, yes, I'd really like to play, but is your big butt getting in the way? I want you to really get honest with yourself there. So real quick, which space are you playing in? Are you in a space of opportunity or are you in a space of obligation? Are you playing around the space of I get to, or are you sitting there going, I have to, I need to, I got to? Everything you're doing is a choice. Do you realize that right now this transition period is an opportunity for you? Or are you sitting there going, oh, I got to get a job? No, I get to explore my options. I get to be in a place that's going to let me play at a higher level. I get to serve in a different capacity. Ooh, that feels different, right? Are you looking at excellence or are you making a lot of excuses? Get honest with yourself. Where are you making excuses that you're not picking up the phone and making that call? Where are you making excuses that you're like, I don't know if I'm signing up for tomorrow because, I got to clean the house and we got to take care of this. And are you making excuses for those of you that didn't raise your hand? You have a huge opportunity to build relationships. What excuses are you making? Are you coming from a place of I can, or are you coming from a place of I can't? Anytime you're inclined to say I can't, immediately say, then how can I? Because I can't is setting up your excuses. I can't is putting you in an obligation space. I can't is saying where there's a will, there's a way. Versus where there's a will, I will come hell or high water, I'm going to make something happen. This or something better, because I'm not attached to the outcome of what needs to show up. That makes sense for you guys? Is that helpful? Yes. Okay. So, this is, your next opportunity is the minute you engage walking out of here. How you engage with each other. What you take from this, what you put forward. Playing full out tomorrow. Standing in your voice. Knowing that anyone you're interviewing with, recruiters or whoever, it is as much your interview as it is theirs. If not, it's actually more your interview. All of you are seasoned professionals. It's your opportunity to decide what's the right next fit for you. And oh my gosh, that has such power. I actually had someone who I wanted them so bad on my team. Best interview I ever had, they said, I need to be really honest. I don't think this is the right fit for me. I appreciate all your time, whatever. And I went, I know it's not, but I still want that person. So my next response was, tell me what you do want. I will open up every door possible. And I sat there with them in my office and made 5 calls and got them the job that was the right fit for them. Because I called my network to say, I got a golden kid right in my office. I'm telling you right now, it's not the right fit for my team, and I'm crying because I really want this person. But I know you got a space where they can knock the doors off. That's the power, too. It may not be the opportunity, but when that person sees your value, they'll open doors for you. I've had many opportunities be that. Where even when I left my job from JCI, I had a friend that I said, you know that CEO over at General Thermodynamics? I had an interview at 3 o'clock one day I got let go, which was against the rules from the outplacement people. And I sat there and he's like, Candy, I want you, but this isn't your space. And I said, I know, and I so appreciate you honoring Frank's request to meet with me. He goes, if you ever decide this is a space you want to play in, I'll create something for you, but this is not your space. And I was like, and he opened some doors for me. Know who you are. It's powerful. Relationship building is powerful. So I have a gift for all of you. For those of you that are like, I need more resources, I need tools. I am on October 4th, which is a Wednesday, from 12 to 2, running a free workshop. It is my gift to you. It is 2 hours, and it's going to go through those 5 ABCs of how to master your life and business. It's a powerful space to give you some game changers. Some of these frames, the yes but, the yes and, is an example of where we're going to go. Some of the semantics, some of the ways you can show up more powerfully in your life and in your business I'm gifting that to you because I want to help you get to your next level. If this speaks to you, all I ask is when we're done, I either need your business card or I need you to give me your name and email so that I can get you the information so that I know how many people are showing up. Because I need to plan for who's coming. And we've had some great groups. We've done 2 of them already. This is a gift I want to offer to continue to help you lift your game. October 4th, 12 to 2. So wrapping up, I want you to think about the fact that leadership is a choice. No one can decide what's your next step but you. No one can decide how to open up access if you're not willing to put the work in. Leadership is not a privileged space for a select few. Leadership is everyone's game. It's a team sport, and it's a responsibility. I just want you to remember that. So who do you choose to be? How are you going to show up tomorrow at the expo? How are you going to show up with each other after we break, when we say goodbye? How are you going to show up with your family the rest of today? Who do you choose to be? How you do anything is how you do everything. We don't attract what we want. I'm a master law of attraction practitioner. We don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. So if you are not attracting what you want to you, it's time to ask, am I being in integrity with who I am? What excuses am I making? Where am I copping out? What's making me uncomfortable that I haven't yet stepped through? How can I continue to grow and access more? And I want you to know that you are empowered strong. You have what you need now. It's just a matter of tapping in and flipping the switch. And so I challenge all of you to play a bigger game. Whatever that looks like for you. What's your next level? And so again, I'm going to leave you with this piece of gratitude because it really is such an honor to come speak to you. I love that Kathy and Shannon asked me to come back. I love being here. I love being in a space to serve. And I want you to think about this idea around you don't know who, you don't know how, and you don't know to what level you can affect, influence, or impact change for another person until you show up. But the question is, will you show up? You have to show up to know the power of what you can do.